Forget the neat documentary image of engineers calmly building perfect defenses from standardized kits. In North Africa, the ground fought back. Limestone that dulled steel. Sand that collapsed overnight. Supply lists that looked fine on paper and failed at the front. Regulation said use issued tools, in issued ways, through approved channels. Then the shooting started, and men used whatever cut, lifted, or blasted fast enough to keep them alive. These are the 7 forgotten banned field fortification tools used by Italian engineers. Number 7. Captured British picks and shovels. Using the enemy's tools against them. Italian army procurement culture pushed standardization. Units were supposed to rely on issue pattern entrenching tools and engineer stores, not whatever happened to be lying in a captured dump. Using foreign equipment wasn't just untidy. It complicated spare parts, training, and accountability, especially in formations already short on transport. In 1942, fighting along the Gazala line and around Tobruk produced exactly the kind of battlefield salvage engineers noticed first. Italian troops in the 65th Infantry Division, Trieste, and other Axis formations operating nearby sometimes pulled British picks and long-handled shovels out of captured positions because they simply worked better in hard ground than the lighter, often worn Italian tools on hand. Longer handles meant leverage. Better steel held an edge longer. And when you're trying to cut a weapon pit before first light, that matters. The upside was immediate. Faster trenches, deeper cover, less exhaustion. The downside arrived later. Captured tools didn't come with a replacement pipeline. After an air raid or a hurried withdrawal, the best tools were often the first things lost, and suddenly the whole plan depended on capturing the next batch. Number 6. Privately purchased civilian mattocks and axes. Unapproved but indispensable. On paper, civilian tools were a problem. Procurement rules existed for a reason. Standard patterns, predictable quality, and tools that could be inventoried and replaced. A unit commander signing off on privately bought axes and mattocks was also accepting risk breakage, theft, and a trail of receipts that rarely matched military accounting. In Libya in 1941, those rules ran into geology. Around many positions the ground wasn't diggable sand. It was packed soil and stone that punished short spades. Elements associated with the Ariete Armored Division's engineer support and attached pioneers sometimes went shopping anyway. Local markets, workshops, whatever existed near their routes. Mattocks with heavier heads and longer handles could bite into crusted ground where issue tools skated. It often paid off. A few hours saved on digging could mean the difference between a shallow scrape and a position that actually stopped fragments. But civilian tools were uneven. Poor heat treatment meant snapped handles and chipped blades. And when a tool failed mid-work, it didn't just slow construction. It stranded tired men in the open, exactly when they were trying to disappear into the earth. Number 5. Repurposed vehicle jacks and tire irons. Automotive tools turned battlefield assets. Vehicle tools were meant to keep trucks and guns moving. The jack, the tire iron, the pry bar, mundane kit tied directly to operational readiness. Italian field regulations didn't treat them as engineer equipment, and for good reason. If you lose them to a trench project, the next breakdown becomes a recovery operation. At El Alamein in 1942, units including the Pavia Infantry Division faced a blunt reality. Building stable emplacements wasn't just about digging. It was about shifting stone and compacted soil fast, often under artillery harassment. Mechanics and engineers improvised. A jack could lift a boulder just enough to get fingers or a tire iron under it. Tire irons became levers to position stones for low walls and gun shields. It was crude, but it multiplied manpower when time and tools ran out. Sometimes it worked beautifully. A gun position that stayed intact after nearby blasts because it was properly braced. Sometimes it backfired. Diverted jacks meant immobilized trucks couldn't be fixed quickly, and broken down transport in the desert could erase the gains of any perfect emplacement. If you were the platoon leader, what would you protect first? Your digging speed, or your ability to move tomorrow? Number 4. Salvaged mining and quarry explosives. Explosives repurposed for rapid trenching. Explosives in military doctrine came with tight controls. Demolition stores were supposed to be handled by trained specialists, issued by the book, and used for defined tasks: bridges, obstacles, clearance. Improvised blasting for digging faster wasn't just frowned on. It increased the chances of misfires, unstable charges, and accidental detonations in crowded positions. Yet in 1942, in sectors tied to the wider-to-brick fighting, time was the enemy. Elements of the Folgore Division trained as airborne infantry but used as frontline troops in the desert worked with engineers to improve defensive cover under punishing schedules. Where ordinary digging bogged down in hard layers, salvaged commercial blasting materials from mines and quarries could be adapted, small charges to fracture rock. Then men moved in with picks to clear the broken ground. The effect could be decisive. A fractured trench line could be deepened in hours instead of days, giving real protection against fragments. But the risks were not theoretical. Mishandling, poor storage and heat, and improvised fusing sometimes caused premature blasts and injuries, exactly the kind that removed skilled men from units that couldn't replace them quickly. Before we move on, what's the smarter gamble in a supply-starved desert war? Relying on captured enemy tools, or risking your own mobility by cannibalizing vehicle gear? Drop your pick in the comments. And if you want WW2 history without the movie version, subscribe. Top 3 get even messier. Number 3. Unauthorized booby trap and obstacle kits. Defense built with what you're not supposed to have. Italian doctrine tried to keep obstacles legible. Mines and demolition stores were controlled, recorded, and laid by trained hands, because friendly troops had to live behind them in the dark. Anything unofficial risked confusion, accidents, and the kind of panic that makes a trench line eat itself. But the desert didn't reward tidy paperwork. Engineers and pioneers sometimes built ad hoc kits from whatever was available: captured British grenades, extra fuses, tripwire pulled from comms cable, even scrap tin for noisemakers. The goal wasn't elegance, it was delay. A wire snag that forces a man to stop. A flare improvised from signal components. A crude anti-personnel surprise placed where patrols kept cutting through. When it worked, it bought minutes that mattered enough for a listening post to wake a section and for a machine gun to be pointed the right way. When it failed inward. Unmarked devices were forgotten, shifted by sand, or misunderstood by replacements, and the first casualty could be the unit that laid it. Number 2. Improvised sandbag fillers. Speed versus collapse. On paper, sandbags were simple. Fill by hand, tie off, stack to a prescribed profile, tamp, and inspect. Engineer manuals treated it like disciplined labor: slow, methodical, and consistent, because a wall that slumps is just a choreographed way to lose cover. In practice, hand filling was a trap. Not just for time, but for exposure. So some units improvised fillers from the nearest junk. A fuel can with the top cut open, a short length of stovepipe, even a funnel made from a smashed bucket riveted to a board. 2 men could hold the bag while one poured and tamped. Others built a crude chute off a truck bed to feed bags directly from a pile. The payoff was obvious. More bags per minute meant a parapet before the next barrage. But fast fill wasn't always good fill. Loose bags settled, seams tore, and walls slumped overnight, especially after vibration from shelling, turning a hard-won position into a low ridge that invited fragments instead of stopping them. Number 1. Non-issued trenching tools. The fastest dig was the one you weren't allowed to log. Italian supply and engineer branches valued standard patterns for a reason: inventory, repairs, and predictable training. The official entrenching tool was supposed to be enough when paired with proper sighting and labor discipline. Commanders were expected to keep kit accounted for, not let the line become a scavenger's workshop. But the right tool wasn't always the tool that reached the front. Men borrowed, stole, traded. A long-handled spade from a farm. A masonry bar from a rail crew. A homemade pick with a heavier head, welded in a local shop and fitted to a truck spring handle. Some engineers even preferred unusual shapes: narrow spades to cut hard layers, wide blades to throw sand fast because one pattern never matched every soil. It could be a quiet advantage: less fatigue, cleaner trench walls, faster drainage cuts. It could also turn into a dead end. Non-issue tools broke without spares, drew unwanted attention in inspections, and when a retreat came were abandoned first, leaving units back on the very tools that had already failed them. Across all 7, the pattern isn't heroism. It's friction. A regulation tries to make war measurable counts, patterns, approved methods while the ground and the timetable refuse to cooperate. So engineers crossed the gap with whatever their hands could find, trading one risk for another, every time. If you want World War II history without simplification or mythology, subscribe. Brass and Blitz stays with the details people usually cut. The tools, the constraints, and the small decisions that kept positions standing or made them fall apart.